Hi everyone, my name is Joe. Nice to meet you. I grew up playing various different instruments at school in sort of brass bands and orchestras. And then in my teens, I started playing in sort of quite noisy rock bands. And I spent probably 10 years playing in two different bands, doing a bunch of touring, releasing quite a bit of music. Yeah, and I sort of took a big pause around the age of 25, somewhere there, essentially to focus on my studies and to try and get a job. The music industry was difficult even then. But yeah, then I sort of spent another kind of 10 years or so not really doing much music at all. I've just kind of got back to it really within the last couple of years, pretty focused on what I'm doing now. So happy to be back in the swing of things. While I was playing in a specific band, Copy Haho, which was a kind of a four-piece indie rock band, we had a fair amount of kind of contact with the industry, from kind of labels and sort of publishers to lots of press, things like that. I mean, it was a long time ago, so my experience then is almost irrelevant at this point. I really enjoyed it to an extent. I think it was difficult, as it is now, to make a sort of sustainable career out of music. And it was a very competitive environment. Lots and lots of music everywhere, lots of bands. And lots of other bands, to be honest, at that time doing similar things to us. So that made it sort of more difficult than it could have been. But really fun, you know. Also, the highs and lows of sitting in the back of a transit van with four of your friends from school has its highs and lows, but ultimately a good experience. It's essentially a kind of collection of songs that sort of all stem around the idea of the body as an antenna for human experience. And in my case, predominantly queer-centric human experience. Yeah, and I wrote a lot of the songs from the previous summers, autumn 2023, and spent the kind of tail end of last year and the beginning of this year recording them with a few different people, a friend called Timu in Athens at Mutual Sound Studios, and also with a friend called Paul Rafferty in Liverpool, I would describe it as. An EP of firsts, far bigger orchestrated moments, songs that feel sort of harmonically a lot more complex than things I'd written before. I think songwriting, hopefully, that feels a little bit more pointed and less abstract. I also worked on the kind of imagery that went along with that release with my friend Nodas Koutsikus, photographer and designer in Athens. I think it was the first time I'd really pushed to evolve the kind of aesthetic alongside the music. I think that really helped. From a process perspective, in terms of this little creative machine, it's really sort of become a little bit of a blueprint for what I'm working on now. Let me live easy. Statue Made of Stone, it's essentially that uses the idea of classical sculpture and its form as a sort of an unreal and imagined version of reality. Sculptors would study all kinds of different bodies a long, long time ago and sort of put together a best of. I love the legs from here, I love the torso from here, the jawline from over there. That was quite interesting to me in terms of how art, the way in which we make art is based on where we see value and based on the kind of idea we want to communicate. It's a fallacy, no matter how close to reality it's intended to be, how close to reality it's intending to document a specific emotion or experience. It's never that thing. It's a sort of a picture of it from a distance. I really liked how that sat alongside the way in which we sort of idealize each other in relationship, physical or emotional interactions, worshipping a beautiful fallacy. I'll be your lover, your friend, I'll be your boy till the end. I'd feed that hunger deep within you. I'd bleed my body if you wanted me to. And the other track that you mentioned, Believe in Something, does what it says on the tin, really. It's about the things we choose to believe or believe in order to just exist. the things we tell ourselves to get through the day. And also some more of a personal reflection on that and the ways in which you sort of change who you are, what you do, what you say, mask your physical traits sometimes, or dress a certain way or present a specific way in order to kind of fit in or to assimilate into a specific culture or a specific context. And that's something I always kind of felt and still feel. Being what the world wants you to be, believing and valuing the things that the world wants you to value. A tension between that and then also really looking inward and understanding what's important to you, who you are, and what encourages you or helps you exist, what kind of gets you up in the morning. Bit of a vague answer, but yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I think if you listen to the words or you read them, it becomes pretty apparent what kind of a picture I'm trying to paint.
No control, upside down, high or low, foul or fair, no one cares. You got to believe in something, something's not there.
As I kind of mentioned earlier, I'm sort of working on a lot of new music at the moment, which I'm really excited about. Going to play a few shows. I'm sort of playing with the format of the shows and understanding what does and doesn't work. At the moment, they're fairly stripped back, which I'm enjoying. And I hope to perhaps, I think there'll be one in Berlin at the start of next year, I think in February. And following that, hopefully a couple here in London and then also in Athens. Playing live will hopefully be a focus. And yeah, finishing new material and scheduling new releases. Hopefully beginning of next year, tail end of January, there'll be a new track out. So keep your ears open and eyes peeled.
No control, upside down.
Thank you for having me.
No one cares. You got to believe in something when something's not there.